Breaking. Final act for the Kremlin. Russia crumbles in real time. The strike is decisive. Hellfire revenge for Kyiv. Jets fall, the deep air burns, and the capital dims to black. On the front line, unbreakable lines snap. Units scatter, hardware becomes scrap, and fresh volunteers are rushed into the grinder. AFU's superweapon destroys the Russian army. The Kremlin screams in panic. Meanwhile, to the north, columns roll toward NATO's edge as the Kremlin turns up the red button talk. Who's bluffing, who's breaking, and what detonates next? Let's talk about it. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. I'm Maria Farafonova, and here are the latest news. Russia is down one legendary MiG-31. The news was leaked online by Russian social media channels.
A MiG-31 aircraft crashed in the Lipetsk region. The crew ejected, and there is no threat to the pilots' lives, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported.
Allegedly, the aircraft was conducting training, carried no ordnance, and went down in a forested area, after which it caught fire.
A MiG-31 interceptor crashed while landing after a scheduled training flight in the Lipetsk region, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported.
Russia's problems seem to extend beyond aircraft maintenance to air defense as well. The home front is ablaze, and Russians aren't holding back their emotions.
That's exactly where they'll land. So why aren't they hitting it?
Where are they shooting?
Breaking. Drones have attacked the Matveyev-Kurgan oil depot in Russia's Rostov region. About 3 kilometers away runs the highway linking Rostov with occupied Donetsk, through which up to 80% of cargo to the so-called DNR is delivered.
Astra geolocated the video of the drone impact in Matveyev-Kurgan and concluded that one of the drones crashed into a storage tank at the oil depot at 4 Lunaya Street. According to eyewitness footage, the impact caused a massive fire.
It's known that another drone fell a few hundred meters from the Agroprodukt oil depot in the same industrial zone along rail tracks near grain elevator, so the action continues.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
And on top of it, a blackout in Moscow. Total darkness has swallowed the heart of Russia. What everyone waited for has finally happened.
Частично на районе вырубился свет.
The Russians are being insistently told the cause was a sudden power surge, yet no promises are being made about restoring electricity. The front is brutal for Russians as well. Ukraine's armed forces spring a hell trap. The invader breaks and runs. This could be the death knell for Russia's army. On the Zaporizhia axis, fresh pushes near Stepovek keep coming, with more artillery and air power, yet every drive ends in losses. The enemy is doomed and knows it. Frontline breakdown next.
The Russians are opening a new front for an offensive. This concerns the south of Ukraine, specifically the Zaporizhia sector. Thus, near Stepnohirsk, in the area of the settlement of Stepne, the enemy has been conducting active assault operations for the past several days. The occupiers are also trying to send their so-called observers to the Dnipro Islands located in the gray zone. Fortunately, all enemy attempts to gain a foothold and deliver ammunition across the river end the same way. For example, the unmanned systems units of the 15th Operational Brigade Karadag have thwarted more than one such attempt. Those few who do manage to cross the river are already being awaited on land by Ukrainian drones. Overall, in the southern operational zone, the enemy is striking with guided aerial bombs and unguided rockets, and is constantly increasing the use of kamikaze drones. Additionally, over the past few days, the occupiers have increased the number of artillery shellings due to worsening weather conditions. In those areas where the occupiers can reach with drones, all the fields and tree lines are strewn with fiber optic cables. For example, this is what the Pokrovsky direction looks like today. The area around is completely covered with fiber optic cables, each one connected to a deadly FPV drone. But despite everything, our soldiers keep working and are carrying out a real hunt for the occupiers. Our drone operators find the enemy everywhere, in buildings, tree lines and shelters. After that, they give a warm welcome to enemy infantry and equipment. Despite all the Russians' efforts, our soldiers managed to achieve success in certain sectors of the front. Thus, in the Donetsk region, the armed forces of Ukraine stopped the occupiers' advance in one of the directions, stabilized the situation, and are eliminating the remaining saboteurs. In particular, the defense forces have stabilized the situation in Yampol in Donetsk region and are clearing the area of sabotage groups.
Units of the Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the National Guard are conducting strike and search operations in the settlement itself to identify and eliminate the remaining enemy sabotage groups.
Syrsky also shared details about the Ukrainian offensive near Dobropilya. There, the armed forces of Ukraine managed to accurately strike several enemy concentrations and partially destroy the occupiers' logistics chain. In certain specific areas, Ukrainian drone pilots are effectively creating roads of death for the enemy. For example, here our UAVs caught up with 2 Russian vans, 6 trucks, and at least 2 armored combat vehicles. The occupiers' losses in this direction over the past day amount to 47 personnel, of which 32 are irrecoverable. Since the beginning of the counter-offensive operation in the Dobropilya direction, the Russians have lost about 3,520 personnel. Of these, at least 2,000 will return to their homeland in coffins. However, despite heavy losses on all fronts, Russian generals have no intention of stopping their meat grinder assaults. On the contrary, together with Putin, they seem to be deliberately trying to send as many Russian contract soldiers to their deaths as possible. For example, the Russians advanced in the Kharkiv region toward 8 settlements at once, according to reports from the Ukrainian General Staff. According to the military, over the past day, Ukrainian forces repelled 12 attacks in the southern Slobozansky direction. And these shots are already from the area near the settlement of Kotlyarivka. As we can see, the Russian helicopter failed to evade the Ukrainian FPV drone. And although the incident itself happened the day before, Russian media have only now published the video of the enemy bird being shot down.
The wind and the choppers are here.
On the Lyman front, while the enemy launched as many as 12 attacks trying to advance near the settlements of Karpivka and Rekivka, fighters from the 3rd Army Corps broke through the occupiers' positions and got behind enemy lines. As a result, the Ukrainian exchange fund has been replenished with a couple of new Russian prisoners.
You're going to kill me.
I won't kill you, damn it! Come out!
Shit, you really won't kill me?
I promise I won't kill you! Come out, damn it, with your hands up!
Shit, I want to live. Seriously, drop your weapon and come out!
You'll be exchanged. You'll go home, idiot!
Shit, how?
Come out, damn it, because you won't get another chance!
However, not all occupiers are lucky enough to be taken prisoner. For example, our reconnaissance drones captured the moment when 2 Russian soldiers in the Sumy region surrendered to the paratroopers of the 30th Separate Airborne Brigade. When their fellow countrymen learned that the Russians were trying to surrender to the Ukrainian armed forces, they decided that Russians do not surrender. And instead of trying to rescue their comrades, they simply took out their own with a drone. At that moment, our soldier was just leading the prisoners to the evacuation point. Fortunately, unlike the occupiers themselves, he was not harmed as a result of the Russian drone strikes.
Sea war written by Ukraine. Western media are raving about Kyiv's unmanned sea hunters. In just 3.5 years, these fast, low-signature, hard-to-hit naval drones have seized the Black Sea battle space, driving Russia's fleet out of Sevastopol and pinning the rest near Novorossiysk. What's the secret sauce and what comes next? The wins and the future of Ukraine's sea drones in the video ahead.
The days of the Russian Black Sea fleet are numbered. There is less and less time left until the occupiers are completely defeated. This week, Ukraine marks the 3rd anniversary of the first strike on the Crimean Bridge. On October 8, 2022, a powerful explosion rocked the crossing, seriously damaging both the road surface and the railway line. At that time, Ukraine saw the emergence of an entirely new and unique branch of the military and its own advanced type of weapon, naval drones. As a result of the incident, automobile traffic on the Crimean Bridge was halted. It was then that the whole world learned what Ukrainian naval drones are capable of.
Ukraine demonstrated that its naval drones, here they are, there's probably a picture of what they look like. These naval drones are an effective weapon.
Over the past 3 years, Ukrainian naval UAVs have become the masters of the Black Sea. Meanwhile, Putin's much vaunted Black Sea fleet has been forced to hide from our drones in remote ports.
This is essentially a kind of army of the future. This is the element that will help save human lives, that will allow us to operate more efficiently.
The effectiveness of modern Ukrainian naval weaponry is hard to dispute. Time and again, it manages to break through enemy defenses and make its way into Russian ports and bays.
Drones both in the air and on the ground are highly visible, and they are targeted by automatic cannons as well. So basically, they open what seems to be aimed fire, but really it's more like shooting by eye, and yet they can't hit it. And that's despite the fact that it's perfectly lit, clearly visible, moving relatively close by, they still can't hit it. It's a total disaster.
And with every new attack on Russian warships, Ukrainian drones are becoming more and more advanced technologically.
Naturally, now they are going to actively target this entire supply chain, simply because the Ukrainians have really committed themselves to this effort. They are succeeding, they see that Russia's air defense system is failing everywhere, so why not give it a try?
Now Putin no longer has a single remote base in the Black Sea where the bunker dweller could hide his fleet from Ukrainian drones. It has just been reported that Ukroboronprom has signed a cooperation agreement with American partners, which gives Ukraine the opportunity to acquire for itself Pontupeniro Wastarsu, a completely new type of drone, Ekranoplan, with a range of almost 5,000 kilometers and a payload of 1 ton.
We have agreed to cooperate within the float and fly concept, and we also plan to jointly develop solutions to increase the speed and stability of our products. We are interested in developing production on the territory of Ukraine as well as organizing training for our weapons specialists.
This news has caused yet another wave of panic in the Kremlin. Now every military vessel and all, without exception, Russian army bases on the Black Sea are in the crosshairs of the Ukrainian armed forces.
We can clearly see that both the sheer quantity and the impressive quality of these advanced drones now effectively allow Ukrainian forces to significantly vary their tactical use and thereby create a certain diverse mix of different types of unmanned aerial vehicles in order to achieve their objectives.
And Ukrainian soldiers, like no one else, know how to achieve their goals by any means possible. It's no coincidence that they are setting global trends in naval operations. Ukraine's naval drones have prompted other countries to adopt similar technologies. Today, our unmanned boats are the main participants in modern exercises conducted by Portugal. In front of representatives of NATO naval forces with the involvement of dozens of defense and technology companies and their experimental weapons, a 3-week battle is being held for control over a notional 10,000 square miles of ocean. As a result of the prolonged battle at sea, Ukrainian drones demonstrated their highest level of effectiveness. Now, according to military experts, the experience gained by the Ukrainian armed forces will be scaled up in the Black Sea.
Ukraine has successfully acquired, and this is indeed confirmed by all recent and unfolding events, a highly effective and potent weapon to decisively counter Russia's long-standing naval monopoly, and in actual fact, has significantly undermined that very monopoly.
If a year ago Ukrainian drones had effectively driven the Russian fleets out of Sevastopol, now they will find no peace even in Novorossiysk. The Kremlin is clearly unable to keep up with Ukraine's new maritime technologies. While Russian sailors are training to shoot at surface targets, Mogura drones, for example, are being equipped with machine guns, anti-aircraft and anti-ship missiles. Some of them are even already serving as miniature aircraft carriers, acting as platforms for launching drones.
Such advanced drones can come in various distinct types, and in addition to their individual capabilities, they can be effectively utilized in coordinated swarm tactics to reliably inflict significant damage upon the enemy fleet.
By invading Ukraine in 2014, Putin triggered a whole revolution in naval warfare. Over the past 3 years, Ukraine has completely rewritten the course of such battles, and Western experts are already comparing its contribution to the development of naval forces to technological breakthroughs of their time, such as the construction of submarines or even the advent of steam replacing sails on ships.
This is next-generation warfare. Ukrainian drones are shredding the frontline logistics of Putin's regime. Magyar's birds sweep everything in their path. The results are staggering. Refineries, armor, manpower reduced to ash. The world is on its feet applauding. All the scorching details, watch now.
Almost 77,000 Russian targets have been hit and 18,500 occupiers have been eliminated. Russia is facing a fuel crisis and Hungary is furious. And all these are the results of just 100 days of work. The work of Robert Brody, call sign Magyar, in his position as commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces.
All the efforts of the SBS Group Command are focused on increasing the capabilities of the SBS branch of the military, which had been effectively squandered over the past year. Regardless of the reasons, that's a fact. SBS is becoming a force that directly impacts the front line.
Russian oil refineries have certainly felt this significant impact especially acutely and profoundly. In August alone, Unmanned Systems Forces attacked Russian oil refineries 17 times. Almost a quarter of the enemy's production capacity was put out of commission. Again, we're only talking about August here. In September, the SBS did not stop either. As a result, Russia is facing a fuel crisis. There is no gasoline at many gas stations, both in Russia and in the temporarily occupied territories.
DNR, the situation is terrible. Gasoline prices have been jacked up 2 to 3 times, so there's no way to get around. To travel with such prices would just be hurting ourselves. That's why we can't leave.
Online, the strikes by Unmanned Systems Forces are already being called Magyar sanctions. And the latest ones have affected not only Russia, but also the Kremlin's loyal servants, particularly Hungary, because friendship with Russia is a bad idea. The Druzhba oil pipeline has been hit multiple times, and each time oil pumping was halted. The Hungarian authorities were furious, threatened Ukraine, and even banned Magyar himself from entering the country. But Brody didn't seem particularly upset.
There are plenty of real Magyars in Hungary, and someday you'll leave them to them. And as for restricting Schengen, don't bite off more than you can chew. You have a strange sense of humor, and your special agents aren't in the top 10, so get in line.
And these are just the results that can be seen with the naked eye. And then there's the routine work, eliminating occupiers and their equipment. By the way, there have also been impressive successes here. Just look at the downing of the expensive Russian drone, the Orion. This strike reconnaissance UAV was shot down for the first time since the start of the full-scale war. The cost of this drone exceeds millions of dollars. According to Magyar's data, the effectiveness of drone forces has increased by 71% compared to May of last year. And it can be stated with certainty, this is only the beginning. There will be even more strikes. Russians should get used to fuel shortages. Hungary should bury its friendship, and ordinary occupiers should remember, drones are watching them everywhere.
The mask is off. Putin's army is coming apart. Ukrainian forces are tearing through the occupier. A whole battalion's strong point is wiped clean. Only smoke and ash remain. Officers bolt. Troops lay down arms, and Russia's pride is scrap and cinders. In Moscow, they shrug and line up fresh volunteers for hellish pushes. What awaits them on Ukrainian soil? Watch next.
If no one helps you, you'll have to crawl out on your own after a while. They sent us, it turned out, to prison. They talked about the fortress. No, I don't have legs anymore.
From September 19th to October 3rd alone, the Russian army lost more than 1,000 people in the war in Ukraine.
I don't know if I can make it. I don't know. I'll try to crawl out. I had to walk about 20 kilometers. My head is spinning.
Russia's losses are terrible. The economy is bursting at the seams, but Putin is ready to make even greater sacrifices. Now, in a harsh manner, they're even demanding that businesses help with recruiting people for the front.
Just private hospitality.
That is, he won't come.
It knows that people won't support it, and that their city could become famous for this.
Independent journalists, using open sources, have identified the names of 134,125 Russian soldiers who died during the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This data allows us to track a kind of pulse of the war. When the Kremlin didn't spare its own people and launched massive assaults for the sake of capturing another village in Ukraine.
Our commanders make unreasonable decisions, sending us to certain death. There are just so many different kinds of deadly threats there. There are FPV drones and Baba Yaga drones. All kinds of weapons are being used, mortars, artillery. And there's no cover at all. They just send us out into the open. And now the guys are digging their own graves.
In the first year and a half, the casualty chart looked like a roller coaster. That was during the Russian assault on Bakhmut and Avdiivka.
You could always see a holiday at the gates. The Angel of Light will introduce you. The enemy is already too scared to even bark.
The Russian Ministry of Defense, led back then by Shoigu, was burying 100 to 150 people a day. Sometimes the numbers dropped to 50 to 60 killed per day.
Since
October 23rd, the curve has remained consistently high. It only dips below 120 in rare cases. And the recent dips on the charts are explained not by the rescue of Russian troops, but by the time needed to verify and process new obituaries.
Our guys went through hell in captivity. Numerous tortures and abuses. Most have shrapnel wounds and concussions, fractures that healed without medical intervention, and one of them is missing a leg. They all need medical help to go through the military medical commission and ultimately a leave, but instead, these sick men are being sent back to the front lines.
In terms of geography, Bashkortostan and Tatarstan lead in the number of their citizens killed in the war. Here, local volunteers help identify the deceased.
In our area, over 15 years, during the war in Afghanistan, there were maybe 3 or 4 people killed. And now, just take a moment to look at what is truly happening all around us. Everything, absolutely everything, is completely covered in flags.
A special category is the volunteers, those who signed a contract back in 2022. Right now, they make up almost a third of all identified casualties, 29%.
It turns out, that's just one particular side. That's indeed the main factory for 2 distinct purposes. They've started a new burial site.
The Kremlin is disposing of those who went to war voluntarily, who fell for the propaganda. Prisoners make up the second largest casualty category. They account for 14%. Some of the dead are officially listed as volunteers, not as convicts.
Today, there are those in places of confinement who love their families. There's a good chance this is proven by those who signed contracts from places like Rosnovoban.
Mobilized soldiers make up 11% of the list. This figure is understated because obituaries often conceal their status.
Do you understand? The families understand? For everyone who shouldn't be shot, you have to hide their status to protect those who are being hidden. Mention a couple of 500ers. Just mention them right there. According to martial law, this is not an order.
One of the important categories of losses is Russian officers who knowingly went to kill Ukrainians for the sake of medals on their chests. Journalists have counted 5,847 dead. And that's with exact names, including about 150 colonels and as many as 12 generals.
We lived, we existed, but not here, all of us. We rejoiced, we grieved, and then boom. And the guys went off to die.
For the Russian army, this is a painful blow because their entire system relies precisely on officers. They coordinate the interaction of different units and accordingly give joint orders for strikes on Ukraine. So what are the real numbers?
Actually, our Putin got involved in this. People have died. Didn't you get the message? The message is, as they say, to raise your time.
What can be seen from open sources covers only 45 to 65% of the actual losses. So the list of 134,000 is just the tip of the iceberg, which Putin is desperately trying to hide. Currently, Ukraine counts over 1,100,000 Russian losses. This list includes both the wounded and the missing. Even the so-called LDNR stopped publishing data about their losses since December 2022. In fact, according to statements by the BBC and Media Zona, the number of Russian military killed could exceed 300,000. This does not include the bodies that still remain on the battlefield. The number is truly enormous.
The flags are hanging. In general, there are a lot. Guys, there will be a huge number of dead. They tell me that when we finally learn the whole truth about their numbers, the entire country will be shocked.
The Russian army, which has already lost hundreds of thousands of people, continues to fight. So-called volunteers and convicts are filling the personnel shortages. Officers are dying faster than they can be trained. And now the death statistics have become the main indicator of success for the world's second army.
What do you think about the latest events? Share your opinion in the comments, like the video, and stay informed about main headlines. More to come?